Few desserts can claim the same allure as tiramisu. With its delicate layers of espresso-soaked ladyfingers, rich mascarpone, and the final dusting of cocoa, this Italian masterpiece is as irresistible as it is mysterious. While tiramisu is often handmade in homes and restaurants, the demand for this dessert has led to large-scale production in food factories around the world. But how do factories produce tiramisu on a massive scale while maintaining the same rich flavors and delicate textures that make it so special? Join us as we take a deep dive into the fascinating journey of how tiramisu is made in a factory. Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel to never miss out on any new food discovery tours. The heart of any great tiramisu lies in its rich and creamy mascarpone layer. This delicate cheese gives the dessert its signature velvety texture, and in large-scale production, its preparation requires precision and strict quality control. Mascarpone cheese begins with high-quality whole milk. In large-scale tiramisu production, manufacturers often work with certified dairy suppliers to ensure consistency in fat content and freshness. Upon arrival at the factory, the milk is pasteurized at high temperatures to eliminate any harmful bacteria while preserving its natural richness. After pasteurization, cream is separated from the milk using centrifuges to increase the fat content. To transform the cream into mascarpone, an acidifying agent such as citric acid is added, causing the cream to thicken into a smooth, spreadable texture. This process is carefully monitored to ensure the right consistency, as mascarpone that is too runny or too firm can affect the final texture of the tiramisu. Once the mascarpone is ready, it's time to prepare the creamy filling. In an industrial scale process, large stainless steel mixing machines blend mascarpone cheese, sugar, and pasteurized eggs together in carefully measured proportions. The goal is to create a light, smooth, and stable cream that will hold its structure in layered tiramisu. The mixing speed and temperature are carefully controlled. If the cream is whipped too fast or too long, it can become grainy or separate, which would ruin the delicate texture of the final dessert. Before moving to the next stage, each batch is tested for texture, consistency, and flavor to ensure it meets quality standards. The cream must be rich yet light, sweet yet balanced, and above all, stable enough to hold its shape when layered with espresso-soaked ladyfingers. Once perfected, the mascarpone cream is stored in temperature-controlled stainless steel tanks where it is kept cool until the final tiramisu assembly process begins. With the mascarpone cream now ready, it's time for the next crucial step: brewing the espresso that will infuse the ladyfingers with the deep, rich coffee flavor that makes tiramisu so iconic. To ensure a consistent and robust espresso flavor, manufacturers carefully source coffee beans from some of the best coffee regions in the world. High-quality Arabica, or a blend of Arabica and Robusta beans, are commonly used, as they provide the perfect balance of sweetness, acidity, and intensity that complements the creamy mascarpone layer. Once the coffee beans arrive in the factory, the coffee beans are ground to a fine espresso consistency to extract maximum flavor during brewing. In a factory setting, large automated grinders ensure uniform grind size. Now, it's time to brew the espresso. Unlike home espresso machines, industrial facilities use high-capacity espresso extractors capable of producing hundreds of liters of espresso per hour. These machines use high-pressure water at precisely controlled temperatures, around 90 degrees Celsius, 194 degrees Fahrenheit, to extract the rich coffee flavors while avoiding over-extraction, which could make the espresso taste harsh or burnt. To ensure authenticity, factories aim to replicate the classic espresso crema, the golden brown layer of tiny bubbles that forms on the surface of freshly brewed coffee. This is a sign of a well-extracted espresso, rich in aromatic oils and flavor compounds. Since espresso needs to be cooled before soaking the ladyfingers, the freshly brewed coffee is transferred into temperature-controlled storage tanks. Rapid cooling is essential. If the espresso remains too hot, it could cause the ladyfingers to disintegrate too quickly during assembly. Some manufacturers enhance their espresso with a small amount of sugar or coffee liqueur, such as Marsala wine, Kahlua, or Amaretto. This adds depth to the coffee's flavor and complements the sweetness of the mascarpone cream. By the way, do you like tiramisu that is soaked in a mix of espresso and amaretto for an extra flavor kick, or do you prefer the non-alcoholic version of only espresso-soaked tiramisu? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to know. Once the espresso has been brewed, cooled, and adjusted for flavor, it is now ready for the next step, soaking the ladyfingers to create the signature soft yet structured texture of tiramisu. Unlike homemade tiramisu, where store-bought ladyfingers are often used, many factories bake their own. A precise mixture of flour, eggs, sugar, and baking powder is piped onto trays and baked until golden. The biscuits are then cooled and prepared for assembly. These biscuits are then evenly soaked with espresso, ensuring just the right amount of moisture without becoming soggy. Next, a layer of the whipped mascarpone cream is applied. In modern factories, automated piping machines distribute the cream evenly, ensuring a smooth, uniform texture in every portion. The layering process is repeated to create the classic two-layer structure of tiramisu. The finishing touch, a dusting of fine cocoa powder. This step is carefully controlled to achieve an even coating without overpowering the dessert's sweetness. The desserts are then sealed using vacuum or airtight packaging to ensure freshness. Finally, the tiramisu is stored in temperature-controlled refrigerated warehouses before being distributed to supermarkets, restaurants, and bakeries around the world. And just like that, a delicate, homemade-style dessert is recreated on an industrial scale, bringing the joy of authentic Italian tiramisu to millions of people. Through advanced food technology and carefully sourced ingredients, factories are able to preserve the traditional flavors of this iconic dessert while meeting global demand. So the next time you enjoy a spoonful of creamy coffee-infused tiramisu, you'll know the incredible journey it took to get to your plate. And that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on more foodie adventures. And just in case you have missed some of the older episodes, we have you covered. We've attached a special selection of past Factory Review episodes to this video, so stay with us and enjoy more fascinating food discoveries here with Factory Review. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode. Imagine the sun-kissed fields where vibrant raspberries ripen, their sweet, tangy scent filling the air. Now, picture that fresh fruit transforming into the delicious spread we all know and love, raspberry jam. In today's video, we're going to walk you through the fascinating process of how raspberry jam is made in a factory. From the moment the berries are plucked from the vine to when that jar is sealed and ready to ship, we'll explore every step of the journey. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more behind the scenes of how everyday foods are made. Before we dive into the factory, let's talk about where the jam making begins. Raspberries are a delicate fruit, requiring specific conditions to thrive. They grow best in cooler climates with long, mild summers and well-drained soil. Regions like Oregon in the US and the United Kingdom are famous for their high-quality raspberries. Here they flourish, soaking in the sun and rain to produce plump, juicy berries perfect for jam making. Raspberry bushes are carefully tended to throughout the growing season, ensuring the best possible fruit. Unlike some fruits, raspberries are fragile, and they need to be picked by hand. Workers in the fields must be quick but delicate, making sure not to bruise the fruit as they harvest it. The best raspberries are those that are fully ripe, plump, and have the deep red color that signals peak sweetness. Once picked, they are carefully placed into baskets or crates, ready for transport to the processing facility. Once the raspberries arrive at the factory, they are unloaded and sent through an initial sorting process. This step is crucial, as only the highest quality raspberries are used for making jam. The berries are sorted to remove any that are overripe, underripe, or damaged. Some factories use machines with advanced technology to separate out impurities, while others still rely on manual labor for quality control. Next, the raspberries are carefully washed to remove any dirt, debris, or pesticides. They are placed in large washing tanks where gentle jets of water ensure that each berry is thoroughly cleaned without being damaged. It's vital that the berries stay intact during this process, as their shape and texture will affect the final product. Once cleaned, the raspberries are ready for the next step, crushing. In most modern factories, the berries are passed through a crusher or pulper. This machine gently breaks down the fruit into a puree, which will be the base of our jam. The pulp is collected and transferred into large cooking kettles. Here, the raspberry puree is combined with sugar, which helps preserve the fruit and gives the jam its signature sweetness. The amount of sugar varies based on the desired sweetness and consistency of the final product, but a typical ratio is around 60% fruit and 40% sugar. As the mixture begins to cook, it's carefully monitored to prevent burning or overcooking. The cooking process can take anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, depending on the scale of production and the type of equipment being used. During this time, the pectin in the raspberries is released, helping the jam thicken and take on that perfect spreadable texture. Temperature control is critical at this stage. The jam must reach a precise temperature, typically around 220 degrees Fahrenheit, 104 degrees Celsius, to ensure it sets correctly. Some factories use advanced technology to measure the temperature and consistency, while others rely on the spoon test, a simple method where a small amount of jam is placed on a spoon and allowed to cool to see if it has the right thickness. Once the jam has reached the perfect consistency, it's time for jarring. The hot jam is carefully poured into sterilized jars. In large factories, this process is automated, with machines that fill and seal hundreds of jars every minute. However, quality control remains essential at this stage. Each jar is inspected for any air bubbles or imperfections in the seal, ensuring that the jam remains fresh for as long as possible. Once filled, the jars are sealed with tight-fitting lids to prevent any air from entering. Some factories use vacuum sealing techniques, where air is drawn out of the jar before sealing to prolong the shelf life of the jam. To ensure that the jam is safe to eat and has a long shelf life, it's pasteurized. This means the sealed jars are heated to a specific temperature for a set amount of time to kill any harmful bacteria or microorganisms. Pasteurization also helps preserve the color, flavor, and nutrients of the jam. After pasteurization, the jars are moved to a cooling station, where they are allowed to cool down gradually. Once cooled, the jars are transferred to the labeling station. Here, each jar is carefully labeled with its product name, ingredients, expiration date, and branding. The labeling process is typically automated in large factories, but the design and placement of the labels are carefully monitored for accuracy. Finally, the jars of jam are packed into cartons, ready to be shipped out to distributors, stores, and directly to customers. The packaging ensures that the jam stays secure and intact during its journey from the factory to your local grocery store. After all the hard work and care put into the production process, your jar of raspberry jam finally makes its way to your home. Whether it's for a morning breakfast spread, a sweet addition to desserts, or an ingredient in homemade pastries, raspberry jam is the perfect way to enjoy the taste of summer all year round. From the fields to the factory and finally to your table, the journey of raspberry jam is a testament to the hard work and care that goes into producing every jar. Next time you spread that delicious jam on your toast, you'll know exactly how it got there. If you enjoyed this journey through the process of making raspberry jam, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more behind-the-scenes looks at how your favorite foods are made. Until next time, happy spreading! If you bite into a scoop of plombier, you'll be hit with flavors so rich, creamy, and smooth that it practically melts on your tongue. This iconic Russian ice cream has been a favorite for generations. Even more impressive, a single factory can produce thousands of these treats in just 1 hour, with every batch made with care and precision. So, how does a simple mix of ingredients turn into such a beloved dessert? But first, a quick look at its origins. Though plombier is now a Russian staple, it actually began in France. In the 19th century, a French confectioner from Plombières les Bains created a dessert by blending fruits soaked in cherry liqueur with eggs and cream, then freezing it. This delightful treat eventually made its way to Russia, where it evolved into the plombier that we know today. In Russia, during the Soviet era, plombier became a must-have dessert. The Soviet government set strict standards, known as GOST, requiring plombier to be made with high fat content and no artificial additives. These rules ensured that every scoop was rich, creamy, and full of flavor, helping plombier become one of the country's most cherished treats. The process of making plombier starts with gathering the best ingredients. The main components include fresh milk, cream, sugar, eggs, and sometimes condensed milk. Factories typically source their milk and cream from local dairies that focus on quality and sustainability. The cream's high-fat content is crucial because it gives plombier its rich and creamy texture. Sugar and condensed milk are added to sweeten the mixture and make it smooth, while eggs act as a natural emulsifier, helping to blend everything into a silky mix. Once these top-quality ingredients are selected, they are transported to the factory where the magic happens. The first step in the factory is mixing. Large industrial mixers are used to combine all the ingredients into a smooth, uniform liquid. This step is crucial because any inconsistency in mixing could lead to uneven texture or flavor in the final product. Once all the ingredients are mixed together, the next step is pasteurization. This means heating the mixture to about 85 degrees Celsius to kill any harmful bacteria. Pasteurization is really important because it makes sure the ice cream is safe to eat and helps the flavors blend well. But it's a delicate process. If the mixture gets too hot, it can change the flavor. If it's not hot enough, harmful bacteria might survive. After pasteurization, the mixture goes through homogenization, which is the key to making plombier so creamy. Homogenization is where fat molecules are broken down into tiny droplets and spread evenly throughout the mixture. This is done using a machine that applies high pressure to the mix. By doing this, the fat stays evenly mixed in, so the ice cream has a smooth texture with no lumps. If this step isn't done right, the ice cream could end up oily or uneven, which wouldn't taste as good. Once the mixture is homogenized, it's moved to the aging tanks, where it rests and thickens for several hours, usually between 4 to 12 hours. Aging is important because it lets the flavors fully develop and the texture get smoother. During this time, the proteins and fats in the mix work together to make the ice cream creamier. The tanks are kept cool, around 4 degrees Celsius, so the mixture thickens slowly without freezing. This aging process also helps make sure the ice cream will hold up well during freezing. It's a simple step, but it's key to giving plombier its rich, dense texture that people love. After the mixture has aged, it's time for freezing and churning. This is where plombier really starts to take shape. The aged mixture is put into a continuous freezer, a machine that churns and freezes the ice cream at the same time. Churning is important because it adds air to the mixture, which affects how smooth and dense the final product is. For plombier, only a small amount of air is added, which gives it a dense and rich texture. As the ice cream churns, it also freezes. But because it's being stirred constantly, it stays smooth and creamy without forming large ice crystals. The continuous freezer quickly brings the ice cream's temperature down, usually to below -20 degrees Celsius. This rapid freezing is essential to keep the ice cream's smooth texture and prevent any graininess. By the end of this process, the plombier has taken on its final form, but it's not quite ready to eat just yet. Now that the plombier is perfectly frozen and churned, the next step is shaping and filling. Depending on the final product, whether it's a tub, cone, or bar, the ice cream is carefully shaped and packaged. If the plombier is destined to become ice cream bars, the mixture is poured into molds to take shape and then hardened further. For tubs or cones, precise filling machines dispense just the right amount of ice cream into each container. This part of the process is highly automated to ensure everything is done with accuracy and cleanliness. The machines are designed to be incredibly precise, making sure every package has the correct amount of ice cream with no waste. Once filled, the ice cream is quickly sent to a blast freezer to get the final hardening touch. The blast freezer works by blowing super cold air at high speeds over the ice cream, making sure it freezes evenly and quickly. Once a plombier has hardened, it's ready for packaging. The packaging process is also fully automated to make sure it's done efficiently and hygienically. The ice cream is moved along conveyor belts, going through various stages of packaging. For bars, this might mean wrapping them in paper or foil. For tubs, the ice cream is placed in containers, which are then sealed with airtight lids. The packaging is designed to keep the ice cream fresh and protect it during transport. Sealed packages are important because they prevent freezer burn, which can ruin the texture and flavor of the ice cream. Throughout the entire production process, strict quality control measures are in place. At different points along the production line, there are inspection stations to check for any defects or inconsistencies. Advanced technology like X-ray machines and spectroscopy is used to spot any contaminants or irregularities that might not be visible to the naked eye. Each batch is also sampled and tested for texture, flavor, and consistency to make sure it meets the high standards expected of plombier. Only after passing these tests does the ice cream move on to storage and distribution. Once packaged, the plombier ice cream is stored in cold storage rooms, where the temperature is carefully controlled to keep the ice cream in perfect condition until it's ready to be shipped. These storage rooms are kept at around -25°C to ensure the ice cream remains frozen and fresh. Finally, the ice cream is loaded onto refrigerated trucks for distribution. These trucks are specially designed to maintain the low temperatures needed to keep the ice cream frozen during transport. Transporting frozen goods is a complex task, and these trucks are equipped with GPS and temperature monitors to make sure the ice cream arrives at its destination in the best possible condition. And there you have it, the fascinating journey of how plombier, one of Russia's most beloved ice creams, is made in a factory. From selecting the best ingredients to the careful processes of mixing, pasteurizing, homogenizing, and freezing, every step is designed to create a rich, creamy, and utterly delicious product. The history of plombier is as rich as the ice cream itself, evolving from a French dessert into a Russian classic that's loved by generations. The production process blends tradition with modern technology, ensuring that each batch of plombier meets the highest quality standards. Whether it's in a cone, a tub, or an ice cream bar, plombier is more than just a dessert. It's a taste of history and a testament to the art of ice cream making. If you found this dive into ice cream production as fascinating as we did, click on the next video for more behind-the-scenes looks at how your favorite products are made.